I mean, it's funny that, like, I think the text has been referring to it as male, like, in what way? Like, why is it male?
Yeah.
Just because male is default for monsters and most things, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, he's got that sort of teardrop shape. If he was an upside down teardrop, maybe they'd be like, oh, he has hips.
Figure,
so she's Femme Leviathan.
Yeah.
There's got to be fan art. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Extermination 8.4.
Yeah.
The Armsmaster chapter.
Yeah, it's
the Armsless Master chapter.
Ooh, one might even say Armmaster.
Oh no, good point.
Yeah, it's a big one for our boy Colin.
Colin, he just is not a Colin. I'm so sorry. It just is the wrong name for him.
Yeah, I mean, anything else you want to say now, or should I summarize?
I will just say this was a great chapter. It was more an up chapter than a down chapter, but like didn't fully end on an up note. It was sort of like I want to graph it as like going up, ooh, down. Okay, we're kind of in the middle there at the end. I feel like is where it's going. Yeah, so really nice contrast to the previous chapter in a lot of ways. Like, both that they actually did some serious damage that was really, like, satisfying to watch. Like, Leviathan got a little bit outsmarted for a while. And also, last chapter was such a, like, a million people doing different things. And this was so much more concentrated in a way that was just a really nice narrative shift. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But really fun.
Why don't you tell us what happened?
All right. Well, Leviathan was frozen along with his afterimage, and Armsmaster was rallying the troops. And the chapter starts out with Skitter getting her orders, Armsmaster in kind of a surreal scene working with Kaiser for the last time, and basically setting up a cage around Leviathan and some bombs. Kid Wind's got his laser out. As soon as Leviathan becomes unfrozen in an indeterminate amount of time, they're just going to hit him with everything that they've got all at once. And then the plan is for the heroes to kind of spread out in all directions. A mix of heavy hitters and the more glass cannon types, and then people like Taylor who are just kind of there for surveillance to track his movements. So everybody's kind of like spreading out. Taylor notes that there are a little more than 50 capes left. Oof. So they really have lost a lot. Certainly more than a quarter.
Though hopefully all the ones who are gone aren't dead. They're just down.
That's true. Yeah. Casualties, not necessarily all dead. Taylor ends up on her own in a, again, surreally familiar street that she's walked several times before, but not in a situation like this. She surveys the scene and she's like, there's nothing I can use. Like, I can't fight. Like, my instinct is to try and fight, but I just can't. And she thinks that part of her is scared and she wishes she could run away. But then she's like, but I know running away isn't going to do any good. Like, I sort of know that the situation is so hopeless. I might as well find a way to help. And maybe what I should do, her strategy that she settles on, is she's going to just think like prey. How can she be very effective prey? So she looks around and she's like, okay, where could I hide? Here's some different places, in a car, on a roof, in a carport. And she ends up deciding that on the roof, in the car, she'd be too contained. And she also has the idea that she can create bug doppelgangers in some of the areas out of the rain, so that if Leviathan does come this way, there are other, skitter-shaped masses of bugs around that could provide a distraction. We hear a little bit about the plan. Eidolon is using an ice-based power, which is sort of good in the short term, but risky if more tidal waves keep coming in, because Leviathan can supercharge the ice to do more damage. And basically, the reason they got to take these risks, they just want to hold out long enough for Scion to show up. We hear a little bit that basically, like, the heroes don't have a way to communicate with Scion because he's just doing stuff all the time. And it's like, if he notices that this attack is happening, he'll probably show up, but it's unclear unclear how many Endbringer attacks he misses. And all of a sudden, her armband starts listing out the newly deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Manpower. Aegis.
Aegis!
Leviathan is awake. Fenya down. Fenya deceased. Kidwin down. And then Taylor sees Leviathan carrying Kaiser's upper torso,
him
having been torn in half. Leviathan looks really bad. Like, lots of ichor oozing, lots of, like, twisted flesh, damage from all of the attacks that have happened. Taylor's armband is offline for some reason, which is why she didn't hear about Kaiser's death. She saw it. And Leviathan's, like, on her street, and she stays very, very still. And Leviathan does send a wave at her, but she's able to sort of dodge well enough that she, is knocked into a puddle and completely out of breath for a minute or two, or she doesn't really know how long, but she survives. And when she gets up, she sees that Armsmaster and Leviathan are fighting one-on-one. And Armsmaster, for our sake, perhaps for his own sake, we can talk about it, certainly not for Leviathan's sake, is monologuing.
Yeah.
And he has his two halberds, and he starts basically like an amazing anime hero explaining his battle techniques via monologue while he is fighting Leviathan. He's like, oh, you want to know how I'm doing so much damage to you? It's because of the computer simulation in my visor. I've watched all of your previous battles, and I know what you're going to do before you do it. And I have my nanoblade, which can cut as deeply as physics will allow me to do, and it's going to do so much damage to you. He's got some other stuff that he talks about, and there's this amazing back and forth where they keep fighting. Armsmaster's clearly getting the upper hand. Leviathan sort of tries to run away. He sort of tries to run towards Armsmaster, and finally you get the impression that Leviathan is maybe unsure or scared for the first time. There's communication coming through to Armsmaster's armband that he sort of dismisses, saying, no, this is all going to be over soon. He knows that there's another tidal wave coming in like 3 minutes, but he thinks he has enough time to finish off Leviathan, or at least do enough damage that Leviathan will run away. And Armsmaster goes in to do more damage, suddenly frowns, retreats, as Leviathan rips the storm sewers up from beneath the street that Taylor's on, uses that water to spray down Armsmaster, but Armsmaster freezes the wave in time and runs up it to jump and swing the halberd right at Leviathan, and Leviathan just reaches out its claw, grabs the nanoblade halberd, pins Armsmaster's hand and wrist to it. Armsmaster screams out, "How!" And then Leviathan rips his arm off and drops Armsmaster, and runs away. Taylor's reaction to seeing Armsmaster go down is to send out a few of her swarm doubles. Her bugs try to burrow into Leviathan, but they can sort of stick on, but they can't do any damage. It's too hard. She rushes over to Armsmaster, and he is really out of it. He's losing a lot of blood. It seems to be the case that Armsmaster thought that Skitter was dead. Maybe something to do with her armband going off. It's unclear. And Taylor's like, hey, so I'm going to go find your arm. And she retrieves Armsmaster's arm and his armband, and is finally able to report in to the rest of the heroes. And she says Armsmaster's down, and she also says, I know where Leviathan is going. As long as I'm within a few blocks, I can actually track him really well, because I've got bugs on him. And the voice comes through on the armband, basically says, hey, so based on your intel, it sounds like Leviathan's heading for one of the shelters. But also, we're going to send you a flyer so that you can stay close enough to keep up the reporting. And the chapter ends with Taylor, cold, wet, clutching Armsmaster's wounded torso and trying to keep him from bleeding out.
Yeah. Wow. really intense chapter.
Yeah. Look, I could have just said Armsmaster and Leviathan fight. It's so good. I really want, like, I probably am just going to read some of those bits later in the episode because, like, it's so good. I love the back and forth between them. It's just, like, the first thing I'll say is, like, for pages, we get nothing from Taylor. And then we get this one little paragraph where she's basically like, I was just there, like, frozen in awe. I didn't want to move or make any noise because I didn't want to be, like, the weird bug girl who got taken hostage and ruined Armsmaster's big moment. Like, she's totally an audience surrogate of, like, this is cool.
She doesn't want to distract him even a little bit.
I'm just watching what's happening.
She also, like, her arm, like, she got thrown by the wave onto her arm and she was in so much pain. She threw up. Like, she's, like, dizzy. She's really out of it. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of amazing. The fact that she is the one witness to this battle probably is so convenient narratively, but also doesn't really feel far-fetched. Like, she was sent in this direction because it's a direction that Leviathan might go, and he did go, and it's such bad luck to her that he did go that way, that it almost... that bad luck kind of earns her getting to watch this fight. It was so funny when she was hiding. It just kind of feels like they are all so small and insignificant to Leviathan. It seemed weird that she would need a good hiding spot. Like, that was sort of I was like, this feels counterintuitive. But, I mean, it turned out, like, he did end up destroying the van she thought of hiding in, and the rain barrel. And I guess because he knows that the people coming after him are capes, he does know, like, oh, I better destroy this person because they might have a power that could be used against me. Right.
I really loved that procedural detail, right? It's so fun because Taylor's spinning out a little bit because she's just frustrated because she can't go on the offensive, right? But she puts her mind to good work with the, like, well, where should I hide? Actually, what if I hide everywhere, you know, using my bug doubles? And then she has that moment. I mean, it's another great callback to the Loong rooftop thing where she's like, you know, that's a pretty good spot up on the roof. Like,
but I learned.
Less experienced capes might actually think to go up there. But I learned when you're fighting someone like Leviathan who can get up and down faster than you, you're a sitting duck. And she's like, no, roofs are out. And then she starts going towards the car and she's like, actually, the contained car kind of has the same problem the roof does, and she backs off. And then Leviathan shows up, kills her if she's in the car, right? Like, immediately dead.
Kills her if she's in that rain barrel on the roof.
Kills her if she's on the roof, immediately dead, right? Like, so, like, it's such a nice little procedural thing.
A little validation of her thinking.
Taylor is smart enough to not die. It's not, I guess it's sort of what you were saying. She earns it again. Because, you know, 9 out of 10 capes, 99 out of 100 capes would have been killed before getting to witness that as well.
Yeah, that might be true.
And of course, it's great also. I love the, you know, she earns it, but she also gets knocked over by a wave and throws up and is in so much pain for her trouble. You know, like, she's like, you know, she's not doing awesome here.
It's true.
She's
to focus on Taylor's contributions for a while. So I had been saying in the last chapter, like, okay, I want her to do something on the scale of the fight. And, like, okay, it's probably too easy if it turns out she can manipulate Leviathan like a bug or something. And I mean, I do think that would have been too easy. And where we land at the end of this chapter was such a good place that I didn't even think of, because I didn't really think of Leviathan as hard to track because he's been pretty obvious. But that is why they split them up, because they're like, we're not going to be centralized on him. We need to know where he's going, so we want you to be spread out so you can report. And she realizes, so when Armsmaster is going down, which we can talk about that whole fight, definitely, but she throws 3 of her bug people at him, at Leviathan, and 2 of them just kind of get brushed off, and the 3rd one, she tries to use the bugs to get into his wounds, and she's like, it's like biting metal, like there's nothing. Like Tattletale said, you know, there's no give there. But she keeps the bugs there, and then she knows where Leviathan is. Her bugs as Recon were such a non-obvious use of her power, and has become like one of the most significant ways in which she is helpful.
Versus Oni Lee, the Empire 88 fight with Hookwolf and Storm Tiger and Cricket.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So she is now the person who can have eyes on Leviathan at a time when it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to go on the offensive against him. She's actually going to have a huge impact on what's going on, but in a way that's like relatively understated. Like, she's not taking him down. She's not, like, the bugs can't even really get into the wounds. Yeah. Which is, I was like, maybe they can, but I mean, like, what would a few stinging insects even do?
Well, there are a couple things that I love about that. One is, you were saying last chapter, Leviathan just thinks of these capes as like a swarm of biting flies, like kind of annoying. And here, that's what Taylor's power is. And she literally sends a swarm against him to bite him. And it's sort of like Leviathan's like, well, I knocked over 2 of them. What's this last one going to do? Right? Like, he sort of like lets it, just sort of dash itself onto him. Yeah. But actually, what harm can these little bugs do? Yeah. They can give the heroes information, right? Which is like such an important thing. And so it's satisfying to have. And even though Leviathan, like, again, I still think we don't necessarily know, like, what he's thinking, even if he is thinking, but like, that he's so confident, capable. We see in this chapter again, he rallies from, seemingly being on the back foot to underestimate the little swarm of bugs coming at him is very satisfying. Yeah. The other thing that I like about the where we leave Taylor is in the last chapter, right? She was really frustrated by the chaos and stuff. She was bemoaning her lack of inventory, and she was trying, sort of like bossing other capes around and stuff. Where we leave her in this chapter is her power is good, but with the cooperation of somebody else, which is a slightly different angle on that kind of like the problem facing them. Yeah. And so I'm excited that she's like, oh, well, yeah, this is not a thing that I could do together, but like, yeah, if I worked with a flyer, then like actually that is,
Well, that is kind of the thing that we said that like they're missing in the previous chapter is like there are too many people, everyone's trying to do stuff, and now there are so few people and they have a little bit of breathing room just because they've spread out. Yeah. So they're able to like leverage people's powers together, send a flyer to get Taylor and track Leviathan that way. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also the end, like her trying to keep Armsmaster from bleeding out. Like we talked about her paying her debt to Clockblocker. Like this is, I mean, I don't know how much I don't know if Armsmaster is going to make it or not. At this point, I want him to because he's become such an interesting character.
I didn't necessarily put that together. Right. Because the part of what's going on here is that the heroes have lost Leviathan. Yeah. And nobody is reporting in. Right. Armsmaster, presumably they knew where Armsmaster was, but he was intentionally not calling in backup of any kind. And then his arm got torn off, but is that going to count as him being down or deceased?
Well, she reported him down.
No, right, but what I'm getting at is that Taylor being there, she fetches the armband and calls in a medevac for Armsmaster. She fetches his arm. Yeah. Right, but like I'm saying, like, so she actually saves.
Potentially. She didn't necessarily call for help, actually. She just said he was down.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, like, by her being there and her intervening and her doing this, she is getting Armsmaster more urgent help than he would have if he had just gone toe-to-toe with Leviathan, gotten torn up,
They probably would have thought he was dead.
Yeah, the same way he thought Skitter was dead.
Yeah, exactly. Because the arm wasn't attached to his body anymore. And like, she's like, I'll go find your arm. Wild. I didn't realize the armband was on the arm, so I was like, is that going to help? I guess it's still a good thing to do, but then, I mean, it's doubly good.
It's so funny.
Good to have the arm. And
it's just a great practical Taylor again. Right?
Like, I'll go find your arm.
You're dead. What? And she's like, I'm going to go find your arm, buddy. Like, hold on.
She just, like, cuts right past the, like, shock factor. It's so good.
Right, and again, it's like, what? If I'm in that situation, I'm screaming, crying, throwing up, right? She's just like, I'll go find his severed arm, because I gotta find his walkie-talkie.
Yeah, and it is just great to have her in this position because they have had such a complicated relationship for all that they've only interacted like 4 times. Yeah. But they started out sort of, allied, and then there's all this friction and mistrust and trying to get each other to do different things. And they ended the last time they met on this place of like real enmity. And now Taylor has done him this service and like stood with him.
And despite all of what's happened, that sort of her watching, she admires him. And, like, she can't help but root for him. Like, she doesn't think, like, ugh, like, I hated that Armsmaster was being so cool.
She doesn't seem to have resentment towards Armsmaster.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a lot more resentment towards Armsmaster than she does.
Yeah.
I think she kind of is like, yeah, I mean, he's a great hero. I wish he were taking my side. I don't even know if she says that, but, like, she obviously wants him to...
I'm sure she thinks poorly of him. Yeah. But, yeah, like, I feel like I guess there's not a grudge or something that is coming through in her active thoughts about him. But it's also kind of it's tough to make assumptions until we hear from her, right? Like, we'll probably get some more Armsmaster related thoughts, you know, one way or another.
One way or another. Yeah. I had a lot of mixed feelings about Armsmaster in this, because he faces off against Leviathan, and I'm like, okay, buddy. And then he turns out to be awesome at it.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, other people were helpful, and, you know, stopping the waves and all, etc. But, like, this is going to be my kill. And I was like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
You really, at this moment, you care about it being your kill.
Right, and I felt similarly, because... There's a part where he's frothing at the mouth. There's like spittle, like, because he's yelling. And I was like, yeah, like, Armsmaster must be feeling so righteous, right? He's got to have lost some friends to Leviathan and the other Endbringers. And, you know, like, obviously... Oh, right,
because of course this is not his first fight.
Right. Obviously, like, he's all about Armsmaster having the big coup de grace.
Yeah.
But it's in service of a good cause, and he's incredibly effective. But then he says some stuff, like, he says, I've already won. Again. It's like,
Didn't you learn your lesson at the gala?
You gotta learn the lesson. Like, you can't...
There's gonna be 700 hornets.
You can't say, I've already won.
Like I said,
you can think it. You can think it, but you can't say it. And then, like, at some point he says... Well, I should really thank you, like, for giving me this opportunity. And at that point, I was like, no, Armsmaster, no.
Yeah, you're
like,
going
just
too
like,
far.
Let me like you.
You're just
like,
baiting the narrative.
Be the strong, silent type. Because when you open your mouth, I hate you.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he's a very complex character. You know,
I know. He's fun to read
His ego
about.
is awful, but also his ego is the thing that has driven him to become so excellent in the service of a good cause, but also clearly in the service of his own advancement.
Yeah.
But, like, he's also so good.
Yeah.
He really, like, the computer simulation stuff, like, he did way more damage to Leviathan than anyone else we've seen, including, like, Alexandria and Legend.
Yeah.
Like, no one is saying that, like, Armsmaster would beat those people in a fight.
Yeah.
But he is the one who came closest to beating Leviathan in a fight.
And we've talked with Taylor about how she's so good when she can prep, right? Armsmaster is the hero who prepares, right? Mm-hmm. He's not naturally as talented as the others, but he can solve any problem he can think of.
And he is a very good tinker, it seems like. Yeah. That nano blade that, like, turns things to dust when he hits them, that's incredible technology. And it's his ego that has driven him there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he would have gotten there just by being sort of a Miss Militia type.
Yeah. Though the circumstances really invite some interesting counterfactuals, and it's fun. I feel like there are some good parallels to Taylor here, which makes him a fun foil for her, right?
Yeah.
Like, so he couldn't have been that effective in the last chapter just because the strategy was different, right? Like he
needed the one-on-one fight.
He needed a one-on-one fight, and
which he did engineer.
Exactly. Right. So he engineered the situation where he could get the one-on-one fight that he wanted. And I sort of see there's a practical thing where, like, he probably can't predict 100 different heroes fighting with him and what they're going to do. But in a one-on-one versus Leviathan...
many fewer variables.
Right, like the fact that it's a one-on-one fight is what makes him so effective. So it's not just his ego. Like, it's sort of both things are feeding on each other, right? But I'm also like, could he have done even better with some teammates? Right? Like, that's kind of the interesting...
He can't control them. He can't get them to perform to his standard, and he can't get them to follow his computer program.
But why couldn't he? Why couldn't he bring them in? Like, why couldn't they train together? You know, and...
That is true. He clearly takes things from his teammates, like the time freezing technology he clearly got from Clockblocker.
Yes. And this is the second time we've seen a tinker create a clock blocker powered, device, right?
Which is wild. Time bomb. What is it about clock blocker's power that Tinkers can figure out how to imitate it?
Well, I think it's just that it's a good power.
That's true.
The one we've seen used.
But it does seem like clock blocker helped him with this.
Yeah.
But it is funny that he wants to be team leader, but he doesn't want to work with the team.
Yes.
He really is at his best alone.
Yes.
And his best was so good. I was really enjoying him actually striking blows.
Yeah.
Even if, as it turns out, Leviathan might have been playing dead a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was doomed. The nanoblade doesn't work. It cuts as deep as physics will allow Armsmaster to do it. And Leviathan still does the, I'm catching the blade of the sword in my hand thing. And it stops, right? It's
so was that after you get a certain depth into Leviathan, he's too dense?
That was my interpretation. That was my interpretation of it.
That makes sense to me. Okay.
And
because it was working, but maybe just on the top few levels of his
right.
body.
Well, yeah. So yeah. And we should definitely circle back to the Leviathan faking it thing. But to finish that point, that's my interpretation of what happens. Is that when Leviathan decides it's time for this to end, it's like he's willing to be hurt to the core or almost to the core or something in a way that he wasn't before. And Armsmaster screaming "how" in that moment tells me that it's not just like if Leviathan did a little trick where he's like, oh, well, I just grabbed your wrist and the handle and the nanoblade is missing.
No,
Armsmaster wouldn't say how.
The blade is actually in his hand.
The Armsmaster is saying I built something that, with my understanding, and we're talking about physics again, with my understanding of physics, this cuts through literally everything.
Yeah.
And Leviathan is not being cut. And he goes, how? And then it's all over
Leviathan
for him.
is denser, harder than any material naturally occurring on Earth, apparently.
Yeah. And so this is why I was dropping my poker face a couple episodes ago. I don't think it's that much of a spoiler, but the thought I was having when you were saying Armsmaster's coming over, he wants to ask where's bitch, but he's kind of ignoring the rest of the Undersiders, right? Don't fight with other capes, right? But if you are working with Tattletale,
oh my gosh,
Armsmaster knows that his nanoblade will not work, right? I don't know that for 100%, but if Tattletale follows that train of thought to oh, this is actually too dense, and if they were working together actually, right? If Armsmaster was feeding more information in, right? Maybe he doesn't lose his arm here, right? There's so many reasons why they wouldn't work together,
but he
but
doesn't know Tattletale's actual power.
No, of course. That's true. Yeah,
it's hard to blame him for not making proper use of her when she hasn't actually told him what she does.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, and now having heard you say that, I'm a little bit less, I doubt more that this is going to happen. But it's so hard to predict how this fight will shake out. This is basically throwing the board off the table. In Arc 8 out of 30, what is the new game that we're playing? We lost Kaiser? We lost the head of Empire 88, who was the big threat an arc ago.
Everything's coming up Coil.
That's his power, right? Maybe. We don't really know.
Yeah.
But it does seem like what this book is about is going to involve the Endbringers in some way. This isn't a random happening that's just happening to kill a bunch of heroes and then the Endbringers will never come back. What I want to see, assuming Tattletale's not dead, and if she is, this is going to be a real macabre prediction for everyone listening. I don't think she is. I want to see Taylor telling Tattletale everything that she saw in this fight, and them pooling their information, and Tattletale figuring out how Leviathan and maybe the other Endbringers can be killed.
Yeah.
Because it feels like taking down the Endbringers is kind of the real goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I took a really great story development class once that defined, I forget what it was called, but the central question of a work is the question that when it is answered, the story is over. And it feels like potentially, we don't know the question for this story yet, right? Is it when Taylor is the coolest hero of all? Or we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
But or when Coil is defeated. Like, there are other potential questions, but I could see the story being about, like, how can we bring down the Endbringers?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've joked about their name as, like, the author is the Endbringer, you know. But it would feel very fitting, like, in a sort of ironic way for it to be like, yeah, when we bring down the Endbringers, that brings the end. Like,
yeah.
If that is the question, that when we finally answer it, the story is over.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're the biggest threat to humanity. Like, whatever you say about, like, what Coil's doing in Brockton Bay, like, that's small potatoes compared to every few months, was it? Like, an Endbringer attacks a human city or area of habitation. So, yeah, I want to see the, you know, bedraggled survivors of this fight banding together. Like, this seems like, I guess we don't know how many people are actually dead, but this seems like one of the worst days they've had. I want to see them banding together and figuring this out. And of course, there are villains and heroes, so they're not just going to get together in a room as, you know, happy collaborators. But, like, I want Tattletale and Taylor to figure stuff out and then have to figure out, I don't know, how to work with the heroes to get stuff done, or, like, how does Coil fit into this? Like, maybe it's possible that Coil's success or failure is only significant insofar as it impacts the ability of the main characters to end the Endbringers. I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe we'll be more focused on the Endbringers' effects on Brockton Bay rather than... It's hard to say, but...
I'm willing to own up to, like, we've had this joke about what's the story about.
Yeah.
To me, the missing piece is what you've just articulated, which is that at least for the overall setting of Worm, right? We don't necessarily know how Taylor fits in, but for the overall setting of Worm, these are the stakes. Right.
Yeah.
It's that every few months cities are being attacked and sometimes destroyed.
Like, who cares what banks get robbed? Like, this is ridiculous.
Right. And so the effect that we're in the middle of sort of like asking ourselves, well, how much did those first 7 arcs matter if this is something that's going on in this world?
If we just flip the table over and all of the chess pieces are scattered on the ground and half of them are broken.
The stakes are existential for Brockton Bay, possibly for humanity, right? Like, it's that element is not even really hinted at until we get here.
Right.
And
it's
that's
like the
why...
tiny hints of the Endbringers, but we don't know where it's going.
Yeah. And that's why I was pushing back to say, like, you just gotta wait. You gotta wait until some more pieces click into place. And, like, we definitely don't have all the pieces of the plot.
No.
You know, like, I don't think that...
We don't even know how this fight is going to end up.
Yeah,
where it's going to land Taylor
I think
or
you
any of the characters.
could guess what that question is, right? I love that framing. What's the question that when it's answered, the story is over? I immediately thought of what my answer would be. Right? Like, I think it's guessable.
You know,
right? It's guessable, but that's...
It's maybe not,
that's not what I was... Right, that's
point.
not what I was, like, holding out for, right? And, like, part of the fun is, like, you don't actually know which question it is until you get to the end. And that's kind of part of what makes an ending satisfying or not.
Yeah. Part of the answer to the question of what do we do about the Endbringers has to involve Scion. What the heck is this guy? What is going on? Why is there no Scion signal? Why is there no,
well, can I read that little paragraph we get about him?
Yeah.
Because he shows up in that interlude, and then he's barely come up.
Right, he's so far removed from humanity, even though he's going around constantly saving them.
Right. He was sort of like, he was like one of the first lore dumps in the story. But then he's been a non-entity in the plot.
He hasn't actually shown up. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with waiting on Scion was that the guy wasn't exactly in touch with the rest of us. There was speculation he had at least one human contact. Someone that had given him clothing and a costume, at least. But he never bothered to stop long enough for anyone to pass on any requests, to tell him to go to X place when we gave him Y signal. He rescued people 24/7, 365 days a year, handling crises only as they came to his attention, which meant that sometimes an Endbringer came and Scion was wholly occupied with saving sinking ships, stopping landslides, and putting out house fires. I wondered what he was doing now.
It's funny, I want to map onto this godlike figure that Miss Militia saw and then Scion. I want to map onto it almost like a superhero version of Christianity, where if the cosmic being is the father, then Scion is the son, which I think I've said before, like it suggests, his name suggests, like the son suggests a Christ-like figure, and he's going around saving people. Like, that's what he does. And if God is dying and is giving little pieces of themselves to humanity to empower them to defeat the Endbringers in this God's place, then God has also given his only begotten son in the form of Scion. And maybe Scion is, one with the Father. Maybe he is like almost that cosmic being, but like a piece of the cosmic being made into a humanish form, a humanoid form, and
this
like
is so
going around
fun.
saving people.
I like this sort of Trinitarian aspect.
Yeah, I don't know what the Holy Spirit is.
Right,
Maybe, the Holy Spirit is the powers that the cosmic being dispenses.
Yeah. And I also really like the sort of inversion that the Son is here with us and the Father is dying, right? Like that's an interesting...
Oh, that is true.
That's an interesting flip of...
But it does make me wonder if this is something Wildbow did deliberately, which I don't know if he did, and if he's going to lean into it, which he may or may not. Does that mean that Scion is going to give his life in some dramatic way that will be significant to the narrative? I don't know.
I will say one thing that I have wondered about is what Wildbow's like interests are, literary influences, like nerdy rabbit holes that he's gone down. That book that Annette studied in college about the religious girl is like of the format of books of Genesis or something. And then now that we've learned some of the Endbringers' names, like Leviathan and Behemoth, I think, are...
Those are like biblical monster
monsters, right.
I don't know what the Simurgh comes from, but...
Yeah, that's mythology, Persian mythology, I think.
That's right, you told me that at the time.
Yeah. But there's other stuff that I remember that's sort of like very incidental lore that makes me think that Wildbow studied Christianity, or at least Christianity as mythology, right? At some point. And so that I know Wildbow has also said it can be frustrating when people read his work and then say like, well, this clearly was written by a woman. This was clearly written by a trained psychiatrist. This was clearly written by a, what I'm saying is a religious studies scholar. Like, he's a smart guy. He does his research. He's well read, but like, I do wonder about that religion angle. It's not something that I have a lot of background in. I know you definitely have more than me. So I feel like that's a thread that you should keep pulling on. I'm really curious if there are other, themes and pieces of the palette that jump out to you as referencing that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also an aspect of just like in many parts of North America, it's hard to not absorb cultural Christianity. If you don't want to. It doesn't necessarily have to be anywhere.
And like, I mean, you get a story where somebody dies and they're a Christ figure. I mean, it's tough to, like, the stories are all...
But the name Scion really does conjure that for me.
I'm just saying, I think there's some there. I don't know that it's... And it feels more like an interesting thing to analyze than like integral to the plot in some way,
it's kind of a fun, like puzzle boxy type thing. Yeah. Well, so one other thing, like, I was like, okay, well, is there any, because like Christ is like the word, logos is like, the word of God, and like Scion's ever only spoken one word, which was Scion. Yeah. I wonder if that's also a little bit of a joke about that.
Interesting.
Or a reference,
yeah.
He is the word, singular.
Well, we have talked about Taylor and Armsmaster and difficulties of coordination and communication. Scion is the same thing in this chapter again, right? Like,
I can't believe they haven't come up with a system.
He's literally out of touch.
This is one of the things that was so satisfying, seeing Armsmaster start to fight Leviathan. I was like, finally someone is being smart about this.
Yes.
He's like, I have studied all the footage, I fed it into my supercomputer, which is like directly communicating with my visor and my backpack or whatever, and I have analyzed how to defeat you. And I was like, why hasn't everyone done this? Like, why don't the heroes get together every 2 months and do like a practice simulation of an Endbringer attack? Like, why was this new for people? Why was this so disorganized? Like, if this is the biggest threat facing humanity, why are they not better prepared for it? Why haven't they figured out a way to communicate with Scion? Is there a part of the Protectorate or of like the government of the US or of United Nations or whatever that is focused on the problem of how do we get Scion's attention when we need it?
Right.
Have they done trial and error? Have they like tried beaming communication. Like, this is the most important thing they could be doing.
Yeah.
If they can communicate with Scion, you don't have to lose, 150 capes and maybe an entire city's worth of people. Like, is Armsmaster the only person who's preparing for this?
Yeah. Well, I have a little response and then a bigger one. First, it was just occurring to me that, like, Armsmaster is kind of in this chapter being like, well, this is what Scion should be doing, right? Like, I'm coming prepared and I'm going to do this, but, like, if Scion was just, listening to me, right, then we wouldn't have to worry about this anymore. And my larger response is, like, the stuff that you're getting at is so important to suspension of disbelief in stories like this.
I guess maybe.
Right? No, and I don't mean that to deflate the story. Okay. What I mean is that you are asking questions that, on the one hand, it's like, well, if Scion just saved the world, where's the story?
Where's the story?
And like, oh, well, if the heroes were all just, like, doing their best, model UN and, like, figuring it all out, I guess, like, I feel like I've read a little bit of Kim Stanley Robinson. I feel like that's a little bit of his style of, like, sci-fi is like, well, what if bureaucracy was good and could solve problems? That's like the Mars terraforming trilogy. Like, it's like, how do we do this? Like, but right, so like, and I'm not even saying maybe those people exist, right? They just haven't been in Taylor's story so far, right? But the fact that those problems exist, give the story something to be about, give our heroes something to do, and demand that there be good answers to those questions, other than this is a story.
Right. Well, that is one of the challenges of stories like this, where something is incredibly terrible and just, like, really apocalyptically so. I was rereading Naomi Novik's Scholomance, which is one of my favorite trilogies, and so I reference it a lot. But one of the things that those books constantly are working incredibly hard to do are saying, like, no, this is actually the best situation people could come up with. Oh yeah, this school where most kids die actually is better than all the alternatives. No, you'd think that they could get out of it this way, but no, they can't. And I think that kind of answer is, like you were saying, important in this kind of world. Like, why haven't the heroes done better about this? There probably is an answer. Yeah.
Now, having heard you say that and thinking about the Scholomance books, official recommendation for fans of Worm who would be into a Dark Academia trilogy.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah, maybe we can put it's not worth just, like, getting into here, but, like, we'll talk to you about it on Discord or whatever to see if it's your kind of thing. But, like, if it's at all your kind of thing, the stuff that is good about it, if you like Worm, will also, like, be really satisfying to you.
This makes me even more optimistic about enjoying Worm.
But the sort of that attention to detail, the careful balancing of stakes, even some of the more incidental stuff that, like, it's a fun magical school and people have different specializations and powers and stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of like the powers. And also the main character thinks analytically about the world in a way that's really satisfying. And I mean, it's not quite the same as the way Taylor thinks, but it reminds me of it a little bit. Yeah. So I'm loving hearing you grapple with some of the big questions. Mm-hmm. It's very fun. And I don't want to promise anything specifically, but, like, Wildbow pays it off, right? Like it's a good story, it's a good ending. Yeah. Like, it's not perfect, but it's really good, right? So, like, keep asking the questions, but, I guess what I'm saying is don't embrace the, like, well, it had to happen for the story, right? Yeah, well, like, I feel like I did embrace that a little bit with her decision at Arc 6, when she's like, no, friendship. And it turns out, like, I do actually think maybe that was Coil moving the levers a little bit. Maybe not. Which, we mentioned Coil earlier in the episode. The Coil question does feel relevant. Like, is Coil bending his power on this situation? We know Coil's power is not infallible.
Whether or not he is, that is an in-world reason why you can sometimes see an authorial thumb on the scale.
Yeah, right? His is the thumb.
We're not going to get a list, an appendix that's like, here are all of the things that Coil did with his power. Probably. Maybe we will. That'd be cool. Maybe Wildbow's published it and I haven't seen it. I don't know. But the fact that you can now go back and look and be like, was that Coil? Ooh, maybe that was Coil, right? Like, that's cool.
Taylor stabbing the knife exactly right to cut off Bakuda's toe ring when it could have been that she cut off other toes. Yeah.
It's a really clever element to introduce into the story.
Yeah. Having a reason why the narrative should go in this, like, dramatically satisfying way is really valuable. You mentioned Armsmaster's monologuing, which, good heavens. I mean, we know it's his style. I think it was just for himself. He's defeating this, he thinks, he's defeating this Endbringer, and no one is watching. So it has to at least be glorious in his own head.
Yeah.
This is the moment, this is the moment.
Yeah.
He's been preparing for this one so hard, because it's not like he prepared since he found out that Leviathan was coming just now. He clearly has prepared in this way for each of the Endbringers.
Yeah.
And
absolutely, yeah.
This is the thing he's been working for more than anything else. This is why he had that glimmer of hope in his eye at the end of the interlude.
Exactly.
Because he knew, this is what I am ready for. And, I mean, of course it didn't go the way he wanted it to, but this is his great moment.
Yeah.
So, of course, he needs to narrate it. It can't just happen in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that Taylor saw it, I wonder if the fact that she saw him being awesome for so much of it, and probably if Leviathan does end up getting driven away, or, I mean, probably not killed at this point because it feels too early in the narrative for that, but that will be in large part thanks to Armsmaster. The fact that someone actually witnessed it, I think, might be really valuable to him. Of course, she also witnessed his failures, so, cuts both ways, but...
That's true, actually. Yeah, just Taylor as a witness. It's important for the readers, but it also is actually important for Armsmaster.
Yeah.
To the story, not just to the whether he lives or dies thing that we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably cares more about her seeing him be awesome than about whether he lives or dies.
Yeah, so let's circle back to Leviathan and what's going on with him, right? Because you mentioned this before, right? The idea that, was he faking it? Taylor thinks this explicitly, but
it's he was having trouble standing on his wounded leg, but then he's able to easily after he pulls out Armsmaster's arm.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it could go either way. We do know he seems sort of like a dumb beast, but he has shown himself to be intelligent, and legend did say he's intelligent at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so we should not just assume, because he can't talk, that he is not smart and thinking strategically, or at least he doesn't talk. So I could definitely see him. I could definitely believe that he was, playing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's also possible that he just heals really fast.
Interesting.
Because, I mean, everything about his body seems to be designed to be indestructible. He's like Aegis times... He is like Aegis.
Interesting.
Actually, yeah. What we heard about Aegis is actually really similar to what we've seen from Leviathan.
That's a really good observation.
Aegis is dead now, apparently. I mean... Now that we know that everyone thought Taylor was dead, I'm a little is everyone they say is dead actually dead? And probably a lot of them are. But I think there's probably room in the narrative. I think that exchange bought us room for at least one of the capes that we thought was dead to actually be alive.
Yeah.
Probably not Kaiser. But Aegis would be a great candidate because he's sort of that indestructible type,
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw the thing where he gets cut in the neck or whatever and he doesn't bleed out. And that's the whole thing that Tattletale said about the circulatory system where Leviathan has blood, but not a standard circulatory system. Yeah. And he can take all of this damage and not actually seem to really suffer that much. Yeah. Is there a connection there?
That's so interesting. I mean, I feel like Aegis's vibe to me sounded, with what we've heard so far, sounded definitely more conventional human biological. It's not like Aegis has an indestructible core, but he does have, I think, backup organs in different places.
His organs will do, if his heart is stopped, something else will beat for it. It's
exactly, right. So I believe in the connection you were making being an interesting one, but, not it's literally the same.
No.
But yeah, they are indestructible in some similar ways.
Yeah, it's intriguing. I'm curious if there's any significance there.
Yeah.
Can they study Aegis's power, X power, unclear, to tell them anything about Leviathan?
Yeah.
Endbringers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just a couple of observations about Leviathan, right? Yeah, it's so unclear, I guess. He's acting hurt and then he stops acting. And I don't know why. The question is why does he decide to stop Armsmaster and leave? Oh. Is it perhaps genuinely he's being hurt and he is a little bit scared and then he's well, I gotta actually take this seriously now? Or is it that he was acting hurt and acting scared and then for some reason that is a little more mysterious to us, he's like, oh, now's the time. And it's like, I don't have time to do this anymore, and leaves, right? Like, I feel like there's no...
I do actually think it's the first one. I think Armsmaster was more difficult than he expected.
Yeah, it's like one of the biting flies, like, actually crawls inside your nose, and then you have to deal with it.
Right, and so I do think he was...
And one other thing, Taylor compares the blood dripping down out of Leviathan's wounds to his afterimage. And that made me think, it could be the healing thing, but also maybe the blood just works the same way. Like, he's just generating it on demand, right? Like, his insides just generate blood the same way his movements generate water, right? Like, that's like the kind of thing that a Leviathan could do. And then this feels like a stretch to me, but Taylor at the end is like, Leviathan's moving west. And then Leviathan changes direction. And she's like, oh, now he's moving, what is it? It's
west-northwest.
West-northwest. And part of me is like, did he know? Like, is he like listening in on the armband somehow? Or like was that just a coincidence that he changed his movements? Because like, it was so responsive. This to me is like, I don't even know. Ted genuinely does not know if this gets confirmed one way or the other. It feels like a crackpot theory to me. But in rereading that, I was like, wait, did Leviathan actually change his movement because he learned via the armbands that Taylor is now tracking him? Right? Like, that would be...
Well, he didn't change after she said the west-northwest thing. I don't know. To me, it sounds more like he was just deciding where to go.
Yeah, and what does it mean, right, like, if he is now targeting shelters instead of trying to mow down capes, like, is that what he was trying to do the whole time, and now just the capes he's escaped? You know, like,
we still
there's
have
still some
nothing
questions.
in the way of motivation for him.
Yeah.
It does seem like destruction is something that he's interested in, but, like, does he want to kill people specifically? Is that, like, a goal, or is it just general chaos?
It's also, and this is more fuel for my crackpot theory, right? The tidal wave that knocks out Tattletale hits right as she is announcing her intel about where he's vulnerable. So that's another, like,
but
narrative
tidal
example.
Waves don't happen
he's not going to be
he wasn't able to, like...
So I think
be like,
I'm
oops,
just
I need
missing...
a tidal wave, bam! Like, they have to build.
Yeah.
It's like what Armsmaster says.
He's not, right. I don't think Leviathan is on the inside of Dragon's tech. I don't think that's...
I don't think so.
I don't think that can be
I mean,
true.
he could have been lying. He could have been faking, not understanding what Armsmaster was saying. But, like, it is plausible to me that he doesn't understand English. Like, why would he?
Yeah, that's a great point.
When would he have learned English?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, and that's funny. There is a moment when Armsmaster starts laughing and Leviathan kind of cocks his head.
Oh, because like that display of emotion.
It's funny to me if it's funny to me if it's genuine and he's like, that's so weird. Like Leviathan's kind of like, huh? You know, like, why is the creature doing that?
Intelligence. The reason I do think he was actually being hurt more than he had been by anything else. Like, it says at the end, like, showing none of the frailty or pain. The injuries were there. His head hung at an angle because of the way the weight of his head hung on the intact portions of his neck.
Yeah.
But he wasn't suffering, had no trouble putting his full weight on his more injured leg. Had it all been an act. It does really seem like a lot of damage was done, and if he hadn't bluffed Armsmaster and then done the storm sewer thing, like, Armsmaster probably could have killed him, though I guess it is still a question of, like, if his blade couldn't get through the hardest layers.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, like, also, maybe Leviathan didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he was like, this was sort of his Hail Mary type, where he's like, well, it's possible this blade can cut through all of me. Let's find out. Oh, no, it can't. It's like, he can heal anyway if he can get away.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he was probably a little bit nervous.
Interesting. Well, that's...
Or at least a little bit having to put, like, some strategy into his fight.
Yeah, I hope so. I like that for Leviathan. Gotta put in some effort.
Yeah, I like that for Armsmaster.
I like that for Armsmaster,
making the guy work.
Yeah.
The guy. I mean, it's funny that, like, I think the text has been referring to it as male. Like, what? In what way? Like, why is it male?
Yeah.
Just because male is default for monsters and most things, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, he's got that sort of teardrop shaped. If he was an upside down teardrop, maybe they'd be like, oh, he has hips. Figure, yeah. So she's Femme Leviathan.
Yeah.
There's got to be fan art. So, okay, quick detour. We got 2 sentences about the other Endbringers.
Oh, yeah.
If Behemoth hadn't already turned the area into a radioactive, magma-ridden wasteland. If Leviathan hadn't built up enough momentum with his waves. okay, the Simurgh was different, I had to admit. The issue with her wasn't so much winning the battle, it was what came after. Win every battle against her, lose the war, more or less.
Horrifying. I read that and was like, I guess the Simurgh is female, I guess.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, Leviathan seems like the best one. If you're going to face one of them.
Unless you're on an aquifer, but
well, yeah, but water is so much better than like radioactivity.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't know what the Simurgh's deal is,
Yeah.
but
well,
it seems too horrifying to talk about.
I'll remind you, I think this was...
Psychic, yeah.
Right, Glory Girl being like, psychics aren't real, except the Simurgh.
But we know the Simurgh was probably never human.
Oh,
so maybe humans can't be psychic. We don't know.
That's true. But Armsmaster has the shielding. So.
Yeah, just in case. One thing I was thinking about during this, so we know the Tattletale's down. Don't know that she's dead. I'm going to assume no. We haven't heard anything about Gru or Regent. Mm-hmm. But I was realizing they think Taylor's dead now. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks Taylor's dead. Except, I guess now she's communicating with the armbands, so they'll whoever comes to fly her out will figure out that she's not dead.
But they're not going to say, Skitter alive again. Like, I don't think that's built in.
No. That's not a feature of the armbands. But yeah, the Undersiders think she's dead. I wonder how this will play out for their... Like, is this going to do a whole, like, you'll be sorry when I'm dead, and now they're, like, sorry that they shunned her, but then they find out she's alive, and they're like, okay, are we happy? Are we still annoyed?
I was mad at you until I thought you were dead, and okay.
I do think that thinking she died in battle might, like, help heal those emotional wounds, because they'll be so happy to see her alive.
Well, you were kind of saying that that's what this fight might do with the sort of, trauma bonding everyone.
Yeah. Well, like, what are Gru and Regent doing? We haven't even seen them.
Yeah.
Are they just doing what Taylor's doing, but in streets that Leviathan didn't go down?
Right.
Presumably, I don't know.
Right.
So sad that one of the twins died. I mean, they're kind of evil white supremacists, but like...
It's so funny you said that, because I had the same reaction on the reread, even though that I know it's coming.
Fred and George, like, you can't just kill one of them.
I know, right?
On.
Yeah, killing one twin is enough of a trope to tug at the heartstrings, even though I am sure that these women suck.
Yes.
So, yeah. Also, good riddance to Kaiser. Fun narrative curveball, and also it's like, great. This is awesome. Objectively a great outcome.
Like, he's been built up as this, like, really toxic figure. Like, he stole the gang from his dad, I guess. He's like a national magnet for white supremacists.
Exactly.
It's this huge problem. And we were like, oh yeah, is this what Coil's group is going to have to fight next?
You were saying, could he be the big bad?
Yeah, and then he got ripped in two by Leviathan. Yeah. I mean, the real big bad. Or one of the three. Perhaps the least bad of them. Yeah.
It's definitely, I feel like, the most, like, Worf effect of what Leviathan's doing so far. Both getting Aegis deceased and then seeing him surf up with half of Kaiser. Being like,
Kaiser.
He is, Leviathan's a tough and deadly guy. It's also like, was splitting up bad? Because like 4 people died instantly, right? It was, I guess that's not necessarily worse than it was when they were ganging up on him, but...
more people would have died instantly probably if they'd stuck around.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things that's really hitting me as I think about this chapter is like, a thing that you do in narrative is you have to build up tension in order to kind of have it pay off. Like you talk about like you have to build to burn. You have to like pile tinder on the fire and then finally you can set it alight. And that's like, and the more you've piled up, the better the payoff can be. And Wildbow just like exploded a bunch of his tinder. Like he had built up so many like conflicts and connections and complicated relationships and sources of tension. And then he just like dropped a bunch of it into the ocean. Yeah. And it's almost like a power move. Yeah. It's like, no. I can just do this again. I can build up more. Like I didn't need all that. Like And I have so much story. I don't even need those parts that I just built.
Yeah. I have talked to you about this before with the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. I won't go into specific spoilers. Suffice to say that several characters die who you don't expect to die.
Yeah.
But the brilliant thing about it is the way that there are all of these beautiful narrative threads with foreshadowing, and like you sort of see how it's going to go, even if it's, oh, here's the good outcome, here's the bad outcome. And then it's like, well, we just actually killed off those protagonists, and now none of those stories bear fruit. They're dead on the vine. And that is what makes it so shocking.
It's okay,
it's not
we're going to have such a good harvest anyway. We didn't need those.
Right. It's like, but like characters have heroic deaths.
Stories.
They have tragic deaths. This is like, it's like a pointless death. Like it's like, it's a narratively inert death.
Yes.
Right.
This
like
killed the story between Empire 88 and Coil's gang.
Yeah. It can have more of an effect on a reader than like just kind of a normal.
Yes. It's not just like, oh, I loved that person and I wanted, it's not even, I wanted to see more. Like, I don't like Kaiser. I don't want to see Kaiser.
Yeah.
But there was so much narrative potential.
Yeah, it's like
he
had some plan where he was going to screw over Caden in a year. Right? Like
we're not going to see that.
We're not going to see that, right? It's just not going to happen.
It does seem like Purity doesn't appear to be here. We haven't seen Purity.
She's been mentioned as a glass cannon type.
Oh, okay.
Maybe even in this chapter, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she's down or anything.
She hasn't. I think she got listed as someone who's still up.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I missed that. So, I mean, apparently I did.
Yeah,
so, I wonder if she takes over Empire 88, what's it going to be like?
Exactly, right,
and that does have narrative potential. So it's not like Empire 88 is dead in the water, but
and it's
wild to lose Kaiser, so...
Yeah, and it's fun. I feel like it's not over yet, right? Like, I feel like we can talk about where the chips settle as a result of this fight.
They have fallen yet.
Right, when we have a little bit more
capes.
information. I know there's not a lot of time left in the episode, but I do want to read one passage again. I just love so much this moment. Then, struck by a little inspiration, I condensed the 9 swarms into humanish shapes. Black silhouettes crouched, stood tall with arms akimbo, leaned against walls, leaned partially outside the driver's side window of the van. In the gloom, through the rain, it was deceptive. Deceptive enough? I couldn't be sure. The vivid, human-like descriptions of these little bug swarm doppelgangers is so good. And it's another example of Taylor's infinitely precise control. That she's having, like, you know, one of these, they're just like casually leaning. They're not just like little scarecrows, right? They're lifelike, right? Like
she's sculpting these bugs.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I'll also note her range is extended again. Her control's a little better.
Yes.
Important to note that.
Adrenaline? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's better than it was during the fight against Loon.
Right.
Because, like, are her abilities expanding?
Yes. Yeah. This has been a question, is do people get better over time? I won't go through and reread all of the great Armsmaster moments. It's so good. It's so anime. Armsmaster uses his clock blocker, you know, hook shot to freeze water so he can parkour on it. It's the coolest thing that's ever happened. Like,
nice.
Just read this chapter. Read Worm. It's a good story. The last little thematic beat I wanted to call out. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of, like, comic relief at the end when she's, like, using the armband and she's talking and it, like, rephrases what she says and she's annoyed by that. But I actually love that thematically, too, because it's the same kind of communication and control theme that we've been touching on, where she's, like, she is actually coordinating with the heroes, but then, like, she doesn't get to, like, actually speak her truth. She says no, and Dragon translating it to negative. And it rankles a little bit, right? Like she wants to be, like, actually coming over the walkie-talkie and being like, oh, okay, Chevalier, it's me, Skitter, and, you know, listen to me. But instead, you know, Dragon's actually the one doing all of the communication.
Yeah.
Anything else, or should we wrap this up?
I think we should wrap this up.
What's going to happen next?
Well, someone's going to come fly Taylor away.
Who?
This chapter ended at the bottom of a page, so I did turn the page and saw the first couple words of the next one.
Well, I'll read you what it says since you've already read it. Lady Photon and the 18-year-old.
I mean, I think it's going to be Lady Photon and someone else. I think we saw, like, some descriptions of capes whose names she didn't remember. I didn't really note them that much, so it's one of those from this chapter. But yeah, it seems like Lady Photon, who can fly, is going to come fly her away. And possibly someone else who can fly is going to come with them.
Yeah.
And she's going to track Leviathan. And Leviathan is going to threaten, I guess, this shelter of people. What the heck is going to happen? Like, is Scion just going to show up? That seems too easy. It's like, that's what they've been stalling for, but, like, it's a little anticlimactic if, like, Scion just shows up and drives Leviathan away.
Yeah.
It feels like they should have to do it themselves. I want them to find Tattletale, and I want her to figure out, like, how they can damage Leviathan.
Yeah.
That would just be the most dramatically satisfying. So, yeah, let's root for that.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, I want to get you to be like, well, let's come up with the matrix of, like, you know, like, Scion shows up, he doesn't. You know, like, they help, they don't. Like, I was like, how are all the different ways you would write it to make it satisfying? But
yeah.
But perhaps we don't need to.
I don't know how I would have Scion show up and have it be satisfying. Maybe if it's like they're fighting Leviathan super hard and they get to a point where, like, you know, absolutely the brink of, like, disaster / victory, and then Scion shows, like, maybe you can win that. And then the moment where Scion shows up is just, like, the end of the arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that would be, I think it would be a hard thing to pull off. But, I mean, Wildbow pulls off all sorts of stuff, so I could imagine it.
Interesting, yeah.
Or I could at least imagine him being able to imagine it. I can't imagine how it would work.
Yeah. Well, there's some cape names.
Ooh, okay. More people are going to die.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the 18-year-old gets a name.
Before I read this list, I will tell you, one of these cape names is an unnamed character we have seen, and I will say is plausible as someone that you know, would remember this character.
Okay.
Don't know if you'll match them up based on the name, but just to spice it up a little bit, one of these names you might be able to connect to a cape that we have met in the story. The Erudite.
What is this? Some, like, ivory tower scholar? The Erudite. What can this person do? I mean, this just sounds like someone who's, like, good at arguing. Like, knowledge. Maybe this is also a knowledge cape.
Ooh.
And, like, they can get together with Tattletale and, like, pool their knowledge.
Well, they could if they hadn't just died.
Oh, the Erudite died?
Well, I'm just saying.
And Tattletale?
They're all going to die.
We don't know that.
Okay.
She could meet some of them.
She could.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the 18-year-old, the Erudite.
Maybe it's the Erudite and it's a pun and it's air like AIR and they're just a really, really good flyer. Yeah.
Yeah. Smackdown.
Alright, I mean, that's just someone who punches people.
Alright, yeah. Your generic brute.
Your generic brute.
Impel.
Impel. Ooh, this sounds sort of like a ballistic power. I wonder... Well, no, that would be more like compel. Giving orders against Leviathan doesn't seem that effective anyway, since he doesn't understand English. Impel is definitely a telekinetic.
Nice. Penitent.
Oh, that's one of the Haven people, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Penitent can reform matter into other shapes.
Okay. Apotheosis.
This is also probably a Haven person. I can't remember what apotheosis means.
Isn't it like the becoming divine? Isn't that kind of what it means?
Okay.
Well, I want to look that up because I don't want to sound dumb on the podcast. But yes. It's becoming divine or reaching perfection. It's from the word to deify. But
I think this
is...
It's
peak.
I think this
That's
is
what the kids would say.
This is like an Adonis type figure
Nice.
who's got like the rippling abs and like perfect musculature and is, you know, a brute.
Frenetic.
Sort of the Flash style speedster.
Ooh, yeah. Flechette.
Can throw blades from her hands.
Cool. Scalder.
Can heat up things. I mean, probably scalding is usually like a water thing, so maybe can boil water, can boil liquids, which would be interesting to use on Leviathan.
Nice. Well, that's the list.
Okay.
Do you want to guess who our recognizable person is?
Flechette.
You're right.
Ooh.
Do you know who she is?
With the needle arrows.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Good guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were right on, but yeah.
She doesn't seem to generate them from her hands. Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, too bad Leviathan kills her in next chapter. You know, it's a rough one out there. It's a rough one out there.
I don't think these are just the casualties. I might have to read this chapter right away.
Flechette and the Erudite, you know, they're going to be coming in, helping out, new BFFs. All right, well, That was certainly a chapter of Worm and an episode
It certainly was.
of
Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.